G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bushcraft and Camping Adventures. My name is Craig, and today we have my top 10 bushcraft survival tips. Now these aren't based on what a book will tell you is the top 10 bushcraft survival tips. This is based on my experience and my time in the bush. The things that I like to do every single time, or ideas that I always have in my head as to ways to get out of a pickle if I get in one, and things to do to keep me safe and keep me smart. So we'll cut straight to it, and we'll start of course at number 10. This is number 10, and it's probably worthy of even being number 1, if I'm completely honest with you. But I'm going to use it as number 10. A walking stick. Now this is just a stick that I've prepared earlier. Not really, this is just the one that I picked up off the ground. But I cannot underestimate the value of a good walking stick. It's absolutely invaluable, if I'm completely honest with you, when you're walking through thick scrubland, to have a third point of balance. It could save your life, it literally could. Now you can also use a stick to clear brush out of the way. You could use a stick to check the ground for snakes. You could use a stick to move things out of your way. You could use it for self-defense if you have to remove spiders' webs. There's really no reason not to pick up a stick when you're bushwalking and take it with you. Absolutely invaluable piece of kit. Took nothing to pick this up. It's a little bit long, but that's all right. It makes me feel like Gandalf. Okay, now number 9 is an old technique. I'm not going to teach you anything new here, but for those of you who might not know it, it's a really handy little tip to keep you aware of the context of where you are, which time, etc, etc. I call it the time fingers. I don't know what these are technically called, but I call them time fingers. Time fingers are used to give you an idea of how much light you have left in the day. It's very simple. All you have to do is put your hands up to the sun. The amount of fingers in groups of 4 that you have until the horizon is met is the amount of hours that you have left of light. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. So I have 5.5 to 6 hours worth of light left, because I went from the sun straight down to the horizon. Let's see if that's true. That would put me at 6 o'clock. The sun goes down about 6:30 at the moment. So that's actually not bad. If I was using that to rely on setting myself up for the day, etc, etc, setting up camp, that would be absolutely sweet, basing myself off 6 hours of time. So time fingers, again, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour. 1 hour per group of 4 fingers. Really handy if you're in a survival situation. So number 8 also uses the sun as a survival tool. When you're walking through the bush, it's very easy to become disoriented and lose track of where you are. The good thing is that if you can understand the arc of the sun in the sky, then you can have an almost foolproof, guaranteed marker in the sky of what direction you've headed in. So right now, the sun is behind me. Okay, now I understand how this sun is arcing in the sky today, and therefore I can use it as a marker. However, if you're just going to go for an hour's walk, you only want to walk for half an hour, 20 minutes, you don't need to know anything. You can just see where the sun is. It's on your left. The sun is on your right. The sun is right in front of you. The sun is right behind you. So that when you return to make the return leg back to your original location, just reverse the location of the sun. So if the sun was to the left of you and you walk up, when you walk back, keep the sun on your right. Very simple, and it is prone to fallibility. That's why it's quite low on the list in at number 8, but it can also be a really handy navigation tool. The other thing you should do, we're going to sneak in a kind of 8.5 tip here. The other thing you can do is use landmark trees as a landmark. So as you look around the forest, you'll notice very similar species. Every now and then you might find a species that's different to the rest, or a tree that looks a bit different, is a different color, is a bit bigger, has something funky happening up high, or something that you'll be able to notice from a distance. And you use that as a landmark. You can use a clearing as a landmark, or a rocky outcrop as a landmark. Landmarks are often best if you can see them from a distance. So using visual landmarks as you walk is a big tip. Gets you out of a lot of trouble, and it allows you to be at ease when you're trekking through the bush. Now, number 7 is not very bushcraft at all. It's just common sense survival. It's a plastic bag. Take plastic bags with you when you go camping. I always take 3 to 4. Roll them up tight. Big garbage bags, yeah? If you can get transparent, even better. I always roll them up tight and slide them into little cavities in my backpack. They don't take much room and they can just sit there. Now you can do so many things with a plastic bag. You can tie them around groups of green leaves overnight, and then in the morning those green leaves will have developed dew, and that condensation in the bag with the dew will create a safe drinkable water in the bottom of the bag at the end of the morning. You can protect yourself from water with a plastic bag. You can wrap your backpack in it, you can wrap your sleeping bag in it, you can wrap yourself in it. Plastic bag obviously is also good as a vessel for carrying things places, taking rubbish with you, all sorts of different things. Obviously you can put things in a plastic bag. Plastic bag is very good if you have food that's half eaten or similar to that, and you want to wrap it up but not have wildlife smell it. Wrap it up in a plastic bag, no scent will get out. A plastic bag, and this is the big thing I use a plastic bag for every single time, and nothing beats it. When you take your shoes off at night, you can put your shoes and socks inside the plastic bag, tie it up tight, and you can leave it hanging anywhere, and no insects, no spiders, no snakes are going to get in there and make things in any way risky for you. There's a lot of things you can use a plastic bag for. You can get the plastic bag itself and you can tear it into strips, and then those strips stretch out. You stretch out where the fibers of the plastic bag are stretched but they're not breaking. Then you intertwine those fibers all together and you make a plastic rope that's very, very strong. You can do that with a plastic bag. There's lots of things you can do with plastic. So plastic bag, massive tip. This also could have been number 1, but you know, I will put it in now because I want to keep you entertained. And look, it's a plastic bloody bag. Number 6 is, again, falls into the navigational tips. It's very simple. I have a stick. I have 10 small sticks. Now this one is good if you've used a map, okay, and you are aware, you maybe have a map on you, but you don't know how far you're moving through the bush. And this can be a big problem with navigation, because when you move through the bush, everything feels smaller and more closed in. And so what is really 10 meters you might think is 5 meters. So if you're navigating based on distance and you don't get that distance right, you're going to get lost, take wrong turns, end up in exactly the wrong place you don't want to be. So this technique will help you map out distance in the bush without any measuring devices at all. And what I do with this is I will basically gauge 10 steps. A step is roughly a meter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk 10 steps, and then I am going to eyeball that side, that distance. All right, so from here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've eyeballed 10 approximate meters. Every time I move that 10 meter distance, I'm going to take a stick from my left pocket and put it in my right pocket. Then I will gauge the next 10 meter marker, and when I get it, I'm going to get another stick, move it from my left pocket into my right pocket. Then I'm going to keep doing this. Every time I take 10 steps, take a stick out of my left pocket, put it in my right pocket. By the time all my sticks are in my right pocket, I've moved 100 meters. Do that 10 times and you've moved a kilometer. Now what I like to do is have longer sticks as well. This stick represents 100 meters. By the time I have all 10 100-meter markers in my right pocket, I've moved 1 kilometer. It's a fairly reliable method. As long as you keep at it and you're disciplined with it, it's a fairly reliable method. You tend to get into a bit of a rhythm with it after a while, but you need to maintain that initial 10 meters. Don't get lazy with it. Very good tip, I find. Number 5. Now number 5 is another really obvious one, but it's really important. When you're out in the bush, don't eat or drink anything without testing it first. Massive survival tip. Massive survival tip. I can't underestimate it enough. If you're drinking water and you suspect the water to be fresh and clean, don't scull it. Have a little sip, swirl it around your mouth, get it on your lips, get it on all your gums. You're gonna have to give it at least a couple of hours. You're gonna have to see how you feel. If you get any weird sensations, if your stomach starts gurgling, then you know that water's no good. Leave it alone. But if after 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, as long as you can wait, you don't feel any ill effects, then you can have more. You want to be super safe? Have the minimum amount you need to feel ready to go on. Don't overdo it, just in case. When you're eating berries or any kind of bush tucker that you might find around roots, anything that you might find around the Aussie bush or any bushland, you have a little nibble, you rub it on your lips, get it on your tongue, get it in your mouth, and you swallow just a little bit of it. Then you give it. Unfortunately, you got to give it quite a lot of time. Some people say up to 12 hours. You got to see if there's any unusual effects. If your lips start tingling or going numb, or again, if your stomach starts gurgling, then you cannot eat any more of that particular food. Could be the difference between life and death. So if you're in a survival situation, testing your food on water first is very important. So that's tip number 5. Okay, well, my second angle camera has just died. So for the top 5, it's just going to be you and me. No more second angle. I'm sure you can handle it. So number 5 is a big one. All right, especially if you're in the Aussie bush. There's many animals in this bushland that'll kill you. They won't hesitate. Drop of a hat, you're done. Drop bear being the least of your concerns. And I don't know whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, but a lot of these things like to hide under rocks, under logs, and like to hide in little nooks and crannies and places that your fingers won't readily get into. Accordingly, in Australia in particular, well, you need to be super careful if you're picking out wood or if you're getting rocks for a campfire. As my good mate Kev once said on his 6 million view video with Conan O'Brien, don't look under rocks. Alright, don't look under rocks unless you need to. If you need to collect a rock for you making a campfire or something that requires a rock, always kick the rock first. Kick it over. Don't go straight in with your hands and turn it over. Always kick it and step back. And kick it and step back. Assume that there's a funnel web and a brown snake hiding under there, hanging out together. How would you react to that rock if you knew that those two creatures were under there? And that's how you need to approach it. From a distance and cautiously. If you have a walking stick like I recommended before, use the walking stick to test the rock. Similarly, if you have a wood that you're collecting for firewood and it's somewhat rotten, leave that bloody thing alone, because there's some very venomous spiders that like to hang out in rotten wood. One being the famous funnel web spider. And those things can kill you in 20 minutes. So if you're picking up wood, be very careful when you pick it up. There could be ants, there could be spiders, there could be anything on that wood. So be very careful in the Aussie bush. Always wear gloves, always wear boots. Always assume that your next step is going to be on a deadly venomous snake or spider. And so if that was the case, how would you approach the situation differently? Think. Now, number 4 ties in very, very closely to that previous tip, and that is be aware of your local wildlife. And this one isn't glamorous or exciting, but what an important tip. You need to know exactly what is out here with you. You need to know what you need to be aware of, what can kill you. You need to know. Do not go out, especially wild camping, absolutely no idea what wildlife you're in amongst, because that's asking for a death sentence. You need to understand that you're in this kind of scrub and that snakes love it. There's long grass, there's leaf litter, snakes love this. I'm probably surrounded by brown snakes everywhere. I'm definitely surrounded by funnel webs, I know that for a fact. You got all sorts of things in the Aussie bush that can cause you problems. Even the bloody wombat can cause you problems if you approach it in the wrong way, in the wrong time, in the wrong circumstance. So you got to be very aware of the local wildlife. Alright, now I've just realised somewhere along the line I've lost count. I've doubled a number somewhere. So we're actually up to number 2. Everywhere I go, I carry some form of very, very simple fire fuel. Now, you can get specialized, tinder ropes and tinder bricks, and you can get all sorts of fuel bricks and all sorts of products that will very quickly light up, even in wet conditions, because you never know when you're going to be in a survival situation. You can't sit there with a lighter trying to, let's find some. See this kind of thing? A lighter will really struggle to get that lit, especially if it's wet. You're not going to have a fire that night. Alright, lighters like this kind of stuff. I like things that thin, and even then you're not guaranteed of anything. What I like to carry is what I call lighter balls. Lighter balls, the ones that you can make lighter balls out of anything. You can get cardboard and do this. You can treat anything. Alright, anything at all. But what my lighter balls are, cotton wool balls. And I've soaked them in a mixture of turpentines, and I've soaked them in a mixture of turpentines and candle wax. Then you can just put that hardened ball into your kit, and that will keep for forever. You can do it with cardboard too. You can soak cardboard in it. All sorts of things you can do. And then when you need to pull on it, you've seen it in my channel many times. I get the cotton wool ball, I separate it out so it's got lots of nice surface area, and then one of a lighter and we're done here. If you don't have a lighter and you're trying to bird nest a coal or an ember into life, and you put one of these in there, the heat from the coal or ember could rub up against this and ignite it. But one thing that's guaranteed, the second that coal or ember is igniting with the fuel that you have in your tinder bundle, that little lighter ball will catch and hold its light for a good minute. That's plenty of time for you to get your little bundles in of small skinny sticks and get everything lit and roaring. I cannot emphasize how important these little lighter balls are. Which brings us to number one. And this one is absolutely not glamorous, and I feel kind of guilty for leaving it to number one, but if I know YouTube, then right now I have the least people watching this video than I have all video. So therefore number one, yeah, it's okay if it's boring, you know. Don't be a hero and respect nature. Don't be a hero, respect nature. When you're out in the bush, you need to realize this is not your home. This is wildlife. This is nature. This is not your realm to go littering. This is not your realm to go breaking and killing and destroying. This is not your realm to be just having absolutely no regard for the natural order. You get hurt out here, you can be in big trouble, especially like me if you go out on your own. Don't be a hero, respect nature. So this goes without saying, and it's about being humble. It's about losing your ego. It's about enjoying what nature has given us and being thankful that you're able to enjoy it, because damn it, now that this has been taken away from us due to the lockdown, the quarantines, I am missing it more than I ever thought I would. I just want to pitch a tent out here so badly and just not get out of my, not leave for 3 days. It's so nice just to be in amongst it. But you need to find that honor, that sacred space within you, and extend it to your surroundings. Respect everything. Don't kill anything. Don't be stupid. Don't be a hero. Look after nature. Realize how lucky you are to be in a country, at least like Australia, where we just have the most gorgeous natural environment anyone could ever ask for. Treat it with respect, and you'll enjoy it and get a lot more back from it. I'm telling you that right now. So that's my top 10 survival bushcraft tips. The things that I employ very, very regularly, the mindsets that I have, the approaches that I have, the things that I do, the things that I take with me, that are absolutely vital. So thank you for watching these top 10 bushcraft and survival tips based on my experience. If you've got any, add them into the comment. This can become a nice little repository for facts and tips. Yay us. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support. Hang in there with this lockdown craziness. We'll get through it. I'll keep posting content. We'll get through it together. Try and enjoy yourself where you can. Appreciate the time with your family and loved ones, and hang in there. Everything will be back to normal hopefully soon. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Take it easy.